Hello, and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Shariann.
So today we're going to be talking about the difference of want versus need, especially when it comes to being on a cancer journey, and how sometimes those priorities change. But before we get into it, let's go ahead and do our pest check-in. So Shariann, will you start?
Okay, I'll start today. Physically, 4.2. Emotionally, 4.35. Spirit, 4.5. Hope, 4.57. And my word is almost there.
All right. Okay. Physically, I am a 4.15. Emotionally, I am a 4.35. Spirit is 4.25, and hope is 4.25. And my word is skating.
Skating?
hmm
Oh,
Skating.
okay.
It's more of a feel than an actual action or concreteness of it.
Okay. So, want versus need. God, it's so provocative. Um, Okay, so immediately my thoughts go to want. What do I want? And it is the most important question to ask. And it's not one that is easy to answer
No,
often.
yeah, it's not. And it's one that I think, I mean, it obviously comes up for us a lot. We talk a lot about for asking what you want. Yeah, I feel like too, like more like colloquially, very generally, when people ask, "What do you want?" It's like, okay, the way that I hear it, that's flashing for me is, in the Notebook when Ryan Gosling's like,
Oh, right,
"What do you want? What do you
right.
want?"
Like this though. It was like this. What do you want? He had his hand over his heart,
Right.
which really emphasized it's like not here. What do you want? But it's like, what do you want?
And really, too, it feels a little aggressive, even though the intention isn't that way. I mean, right? Has his hand over his heart. He wants it to be a heartfelt, like, I intend for you to tell me, like, truly tell me what you want. I will give it to you, whatever it is. But the way it's coming out is he's yelling it at her.
Right,
So,
right.
and I think a lot of times, too, like, in day-to-day interactions, um, I'll even keep it really baseline and really relatable is that, like, okay, what do you want to eat? What do you want? And it feels sometimes like other people are putting the onerousness on you. And this is all to say that it's still really important to know and express and ask for what you want. But I'm recognizing maybe the implied hostility that can come with it when someone initially asks that question. And it can make us feel like if someone asks me, like a wall is going up, like, oh, I have to make a choice and like I have to. And so sometimes that makes it even harder to express what we want.
Right. Well, you just said two different kind of perspectives within that one question, which is, I mean, this one from Ryan Gosling is like, what do you want? I mean, it's like, what does your heart want? Okay, so that's on one side. And then the other one is, well, what do you want? What do you want to eat? What do you want? Where do you want to go? Kind of like, what do you want? And that felt more like I'm making a significant decision. Well, they're both significant decisions, but a significant decision for a group or for a couple or for more than just me.
Hmm.
And oftentimes I think this one, the group decision, oh, okay, let's go out for Chinese or let's go for Mexican, is a easier decision to make versus this, what do you want?
And I
Because we don't take the time to think about that.
Yeah. And we don't take the time to look inward when someone asks what we want, because even with both kind of variations of that question, I think, at least for me, the initial response is like, well, how will it affect everyone? Right? Like if I'm
Hmm.
choosing food, how it's gonna affect everyone. If I'm choosing what I want in a relationship, how's it gonna affect the other person? Now, I do want to continue exploring this, but I also want to bring in what do you need? And sometimes that becomes easier to answer because it feels like one, we're not taking away from other people, and we're kind of, it's almost like we're going to respond with like what the bare minimum of what we need is. Not that I'm saying that's what it needs to be, but if someone's asking me, and I'm closing my eyes so I can really feel it, if someone is asking me, what do I need? It's like, what do I need just to sustain? What do I need just for right now? Like what's
Mhm.
just enough? Instead of what do you want feels almost expansive, especially if we reframe for ourselves that it doesn't have to be what do I want and that I want whatever impact it has on everyone else, and that matters. If we can really claim, regardless of want or need, whatever it is for ourselves to the maximum amount that it could possibly be, that it would feel like yummy and good. That's hard. That's so hard. And it feels very selfish, especially when you're out of practice with putting yourself first.
Okay, there's so much here. I was feeling like we were going off a little bit into, just um, the minutia. We aren't, but I was trying to come back to, in my mind, the big context, and I think that's where we get tripped up. It's like when somebody says, "What do you want?" We take on this. Again, I'm going to put my hand over my heart for that one, because it's like, wow, do I have to say what, like, I ultimately want the responsibility of that? If that's not true, can I take it back? Oh, does it impinge on anybody? Oh, what's the impact of my want? And also, you said it. Do I come across as selfish? All this wrapped up into really, one little question. What do you want? And then you have under that, what do you need? And it does feel like it has that hierarchy, right? It's want is up here and need is down here. Yes, I need a glass of water. I'm feeling a little parched right now. Okay. But really, now, oh, I think I'm going to just mess it up. But, in the wants category, it's like, I want to feel nourished. I want to feel parched is kind of like a less than, right? I want to feel whole. And well, there I go higher and higher. I want to be happy. I want to be in love. I want to feel useful. I want to feel purposeful. Big. And then we get to need a glass of water, a bite to eat, a pause. I need a rest. When you're on a cancer journey, I am going somewhere with this. We don't worry too much or think about wanting, just as we don't in an everyday situation. We're always living in that need category. What do I need right now? What is most important right now? And so we live in this smaller bubble when we could have both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love the way that you just explained how we answer want versus need, because Um, while I do think that they are separate things in themselves, our answers to them are just as separate. With want feeling like, oh my God, can I? Can I ask for that grandiose thing, even though I don't like need it to live? It's not like sustenance. It's not like the nourishment that gets you through your day to day, you know? Um, but it feeds your soul. It feeds your heart. And I feel like it's having things that you want make life worth living, because what you want is going to be aligned with the things that matter to you, your values, and they're going to align with your experiences. And I don't want to say traumas, because that puts kind of like a negative filter over things, but like even your traumas in your past can help dictate what you want now. Like, okay, I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel uplifted. I want to feel heard. I want to feel supported. And sometimes it's just like, oh my God, can I ask for those things? And what immediately comes up for me in that moment is like, well, how am I gonna hope to achieve that? Which is not the question. So I want to take it back too to a coaching interaction, especially with people who are on a cancer journey. When your coach asks you, what do you want? There are no limitations. There are no repercussions. There's no, if you're like, I want to be alone for like a whole month. I don't want to hear anyone. I don't want to speak. but you don't have to worry about what that is to the people around you or anything like that. You can have that want, and it doesn't mean that your coach is gonna go out and make it happen for you. Your coach is gonna explore that with you and explore what's deeper than just what you want. But it starts there. It starts with what you want and what you don't want, simply because that gets to the core of a lot of your values. And what you need
Yeah.
is kind of, it's baseline. Like, you should have all the things that you need, absolutely. So when it becomes a question of want versus need, we tend to ask, what do you want? Because it opens up this like spectrum, and like it opens up the possibilities, and it doesn't ask or demand how to get it and to make it concrete. It just asks you to dream.
Mm, you said a lot. And the one place that I want to come back to is when we, and I'm going to use it under the guise of dreaming what we want, is that we don't always know. So taking the time to really figure that out. It's like, what do you want most of all? And it's like, I don't know because I'm used to just existing.
Mhm.
And that's part of what I like about cancer. Yes, I did say I like something about cancer, which is that it is this time where there is time. Doesn't feel like you have time, but actually it's almost like everything stops for you to take care of this. And this is you, your center stage. It's what you need to focus on. It's not about work. It's not about so much relationships. It's not about all the other things that you have done every day. It is you, your front and center. Because if you don't keep existing, the other stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you're front and center. And now you're being asked beyond the need, beyond of the basics, the survivalness. It's what do you want? And that is scary. So instead of really allowing ourselves to go out there and go, okay, let me close my eyes because I can't look at anyone to say this out loud, or even for myself to realize, it's like, let me go in and let me dream about what I want, while at the same time what happens is our negative ego kicks in and says, and how are you going to do that? And you couldn't possibly do that because, one, you don't have the money. Two, you don't have the energy. Three, you there's no time. I mean, it's a very brilliant part of you, because it is part of you and you are brilliant, but it's there and it stops you from dreaming. So that question, what do you want, always becomes elusive until we're actively allowing ourselves to answer that question. And I do realize that working with so many cancer individuals and training our coaches, that it's a powerful pause to determine, to find out, to investigate and discover exactly what is it that you want.
Yeah. Oh, when you said the survival with need, I just want to like double click on that because need is survival. It really is. And um of course there are things that you feel that you're going to need deeply that maybe aren't necessarily related to your survival. They might feel a little bit more like a want, but all of it, like your wants and needs do come together and they make you you, and they make you um alive and they make you whole, right? When we don't get what we want, we start to feel depleted. So just want to double click on that survival piece because that really clicked for me. And yes, about the wants and being actively thinking and giving yourself time and space to do that. I actually, as you're saying that, I remember that that's actually a journaling practice I do for myself sometimes, especially when I'm like really frustrated with whatever it is, and in those moments it becomes really, really hard to articulate um anything because you're trying to stay sane when you're like on fire and you're like, I can't put together any coherent words and I almost don't want to talk to anyone about it. For myself personally, that's the perfect time to write down all these wants because they can get as silly and crazy or concrete or um elusive or whatever as I want. I don't have to categorize them. I can just start every line with I want this, I want this, I want, and it can change, it can go together. It becomes a really fun practice, but it's, I mean, you shouldn't just do that when you're frustrated. We should do that all the time. We should be able to tap into what we want, and there's nothing like being heard for what you want, really, especially once you know, and knowing deeply that someone cares about what you want and wants to truly know it because they want to know you better is a whole other gift on top of that too. So, I mean, I'd much rather have Ryan Gosling asking me what I want than someone making me choose dinner for the whole group of people, obviously kind of want, because that's not abdicating control, where sometimes, I'm not saying it always is when someone else wants to choose dinner. Sometimes it's like, I really want you to have what you want. But with Ryan Gosling, he really wants you to have what you want. So that way, like he'll figure out whatever it is for him, but he cares so much that he's putting you first. We all need a Ryan Gosling, is what I'm saying. And that's your
Yeah,
coach.
I mean that it is such a poignant part in that movie, and I'm sure a lot of us start crying then because if we slow this down, we slow down life, and we have somebody who loves us so much and cares about us, not the things we do or the things we say even, but us and how we want to live our life, then
Okay,
that in itself,
I think that
go ahead.
I think you and I should say like say a couple things that we want.
Okay, you start.
I want, well, what you had just said actually sparked a want for me, but I want to be known for who I am and not just the words I say.
So one thing that always makes me, well, open more and get a little more like compassion for the world is when someone says, I know your heart. I see your heart.
Hmm.
It for me, that that makes me feel really seen. I don't want them to see me. Yes, I care about how I look, but that's just aesthetics. That's the outside. When someone says, I know you and I want to know you from your inside, that's like the ultimate to me.
So is that your want?
Yeah, I want to be known from my insides
I
of who I be.
I like that you explained a little even before you said your want, because for me it's like I want the same thing, but for me it's like I don't want the hardest, vulnerable, or most like angry moments of myself to be what I'm known for, or for that to be felt like it's held against me over other experiences. So it's interesting that we can want the same thing but in different ways.
Hmm.
Okay, it's hard.
It is
That's
hard.
why I'm like, I feel like we should do it here, because that's so real, because I didn't plan that. But I want to feel successful.
Mm.
I'm not gonna put anything into how that's gonna happen or
No.
explain myself. I'm just gonna, that's what I want.
Okay, so something else that I want is I want fun and play.
Mhm.
I want life to feel like just this playful, fun, joyous, not all the time, but lots of that in my life, which all I can think of right now is it sounds like laughter. It feels like bubbles.
That's a very visceral feeling. I like that. Feels like bubbles. I want to not be the one that holds myself back.
I want to put myself first. That's, I know. It was almost when I was thinking about it, it's like, do I say it out loud?
That'd be so
I
funny.
know. What? Could I say that?
Like, yes, you can absolutely, and there's no expectation to make anything out of any of these wants that we're saying right now. But it feels good to say them and to be heard from them, Even though, right now it feels like I'm just telling you, I'm sure other people are hearing this too, but um to be heard and say it out loud for what you really want, it it lands more. Actually, I just, if I'm being honest, I just watched a TikTok, but it was a neuroscience person, who, probably a neuroscience researcher, who was talking about the power of speaking something out loud, even if it's just to yourself, right? Because I've always I know that that's like better for you and like to say your affirmations out loud, blah, blah, blah. But they literally broke down the reasons why. But it breaks up patterns because you're hearing yourself say it. And so it's changing
Mm.
your narrative. And I wish I had locked in more of that data, right? But for me, it was like that person who has done lots of work. I know that I can't take all of my facts from the internet like that. I know that. I know that. I know I can do my own research for it, but it does feel very validating for me to even just know that this person says yes, that does work. And who am I to not do that out loud? So it feels good to express it, not just to let off the emotional energy that comes with it, but also to hear myself say it. And right now, what's different about saying it to myself is that I'm being heard. And so there is this reflection too that happens. So what she was saying was that on multiple different levels, it changes the patterns within you, um, to really deeply believe those things. And that's why it's important to speak those things out loud. We also say that there's magic in the telling, and there really is. So I love when things like that align. It makes me feel very validated.
Magic in the telling. That's one of my favorite phrases of CJI. And also that you're being witnessed. And that's what's important to me is for me to say, especially that last one of, that I put myself first is I don't um magic in the telling, but also being witnessed. Because when somebody witnesses me, and obviously you are right now, but everybody else who watches this podcast, it's like they may hold me accountable for that and come by and say, or comment and say, so are you putting yourself first? Just not as a hey, are you doing what you say you want, but more as a I'm with you. I want to support you in doing that. And that feels good.
Yeah. And it makes people know you so much better, because um to know that you want to hold that perspective and that you want to put yourself first. If, like you said, if someone who is listening to this and sees you out and about and going, oh no, like they'd be like, Shariann, I remember you saying that you want to put yourself first, and this is a great opportunity to. Um, they get to help you on that journey. They get to help give you what you want to, and they become even kind of closer and part of your journey because they get you and they know what really matters to you. Um, and they're showing that they see you. Not that it has to be an outside force. It doesn't have to be the person listening to you, helping you make this happen, but it it actually builds a lot of community and love and trust and your relationships and your friendships to share exactly what you want, because, and I think this is my takeaway, is that no one knows what you want unless you tell them. And so once you tell them, you open up to them about it, it may feel a little more vulnerable, but it's just being open and being and sharing and showing yourself to the people around you so they can really, really get you. And there are no assumptions when you tell them what you want. They know exactly concretely who you are and what you want. And it's nothing big. It can be small and it can be little things that you kind of pick up along the way. And it really helps develop a strong connection with people and people who want to have the same perspective as you, or, people who don't have the same perspective of you. And that is a really great litmus test. If they do not agree and they are not resonating on the same level, they're just simply not for you. And that's okay. They will find theirs and you will find yours. And I veered off my takeaway, but I'm gonna just say that was my takeaway.
And your Pesh?
Oh, physically, I am a 4.25, emotionally a 4.5, spiritually a 4.5, and hope is a 4.25, and my word is floating.
Mm. My takeaway I was thinking about it before you said yours, but it's going to sound a little bit like yours because we've done a, um, a podcast on asking for what you want, I believe. Yes. So that's what came up for me because we hold a really strong tenant, kind of like part of our ground rules for people to ask for what they need. Only you know what you need. I don't want to be that person that's like, okay, let me just read your mind, or let me make an assumption, or let me try to think about ahead for you what you're going to need, because chances are I'll get it wrong. And it's so much easier to have somebody ask for what they need. Happy to oblige if I can. Nice to have them express themselves and asking for help. Because when I put myself first, I need to ask for help. And I realize that. So they go hand in hand, right? What do I want for myself? And what do I need to get there? And I don't have to do it all by myself, which is the biggest takeaway of that. I don't have to do it by myself. And my PESH is physical 4.25, emotional 4.3, spirit 4.4, hope 4.35, and my word is peaceful. It
Mm,
feels good to connect with yourself.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Ah, okay. Well, thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another episode.
Have a lovely rest of your day. And remember, you're more powerful than you realize.